it's not unusual if you've grown some tooth in the business and you're going to be around a while and you're recruiting the right young men and involve them in your programs. Those guys are going to have opportunities not only on the football field but off the football field to do things within this business. So it's always great to see the guys come back. Bobby is a guy that played for me as younger, but I remember Bobby Wade, and I remember the things he did that were young, and now it's great to see him all mature and old after an NFL career and back in the business. He's going to be a fantastic coach.
A lot has obviously changed around campus and all that since. When was the last time you were back here before this year?
Oh, I would say, the last time I was back here was
that for Coach Tomey's?
When I spoke at Coach Tomey's funeral.
But like maybe before
that, I would probably say the year after we rolled out. So I'd say 2000.
Yeah.
Before that.
So much has changed, but is there anything around here that feels exactly the same?
McHale Center.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I exactly the same.
Or just pretty close. Like you're like, oh my God, this is exactly how I remember it.
It really has changed a little bit now.
Yeah.
It really has. I'm sure. I didn't go up towards the foothills and all that kind of stuff when I was here the first time. I was out south, Broadway and Houghton. I know I went back past my old house that I built and knocked on the door, and the people answered the door, and I said, "Hi, excuse me, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I used to live here." And they said, "Coach Babers." I said, "Yeah. How do you?" "Oh, yeah, da, da, da." I said, "I just wanted to just walk through can I just walk through the house, just look at the yard, and the tenants were great. They were fabulous and all that stuff."
It's probably something that's included in the pitch when they sell that house from one to the next. So Coach Babers built this house.
Well, technically, the people who bought the house from me, they were still in the house.
Oh, well, there you go. About the team itself, you're inheriting an offense that has a lot of returning pieces. Is it important to try to continue what they did while also implementing your own stuff, or do you want to just like wipe the slate clean?
I think the biggest thing is everybody wants to know the answer to that question. Not only people that are here, but also people who are recruiting against us.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say is this: I've been in enough offenses that have been successful, and I've been in enough offenses that maybe were not successful. That the most important thing is that you need to do what they're capable of doing. And if anything they have an expert in, a skill in, we will definitely exploit that to the best of our ability.
Go ahead, Jason.
Is there a way to describe the offense that you're going to be running with some master?
I thought I just answered that. I'll try that again. We're going to try to do what's best for the players.
Why do you think the 98 offense was as good as it was?
It had a lot of NFL players on there. You go back and look at how many names on the 98 offense is inside that stadium, and you'll know exactly why it was that good. It starts with the players, okay? The coolest thing a coach can do is when you got some really good players is don't mess it up, okay? It's not about the coaches. It's about the players. And you put those guys in a situation to be successful.
Did you want to get right back in? I mean, was there a thought at all, maybe I'm going to just step back and reassess it, and then what made this the right opportunity to get right back?
I had a lot of people contacted me. I talked to a lot of coaches, and all that stuff was on the table. But when Coach B got this job and Coach Brennan got this job, and he made that call, I want to make sure that he gets off to a fast start here. I want him to be here forever. And the fastest way to do that is to be successful and get him into his next contract. And when we get him into his next contract, he gets one more after that, he'll be good to go. So my whole thing is him and making sure that he gets a good foundation to get started on.
Could you have imagined, back in '98 that all of you, or in 2000, all of you would be at this point in your careers right now?
No, but once again, it talks about Coach Brennan. I mean, you guys, we're not here for a lot of the other things. Now, Coach Brennan, along with the memory of Coach Tomey and what he did at this program. I mean, that's the reason why a lot of guys are back here. And we really do enjoy being in Tucson. I mean, I love this place. We didn't have to learn the fight song now. We already knew it by heart.
Was there ever a time that you interviewed for the head coaching job here?
No. So if you're going to ask a military kid a direct question, you get a direct answer. Yeah, no.
Were you ever interested when you were at other stops?
You're always interested in the University of Arizona.
Why is that?
Because it's the University of Arizona. You're always interested.
Were there any attributes Bobby showed as a player that would translate to him being a good coach?
Here's when you have here's the thing: some really good players can become coaches, and some really good players can never be a coach. And Bobby was one of those guys you had to see where he was going to grow up. He had all the personalities of those really good players that could not be a coach, but it was how he was going to mature. It wasn't about being smart enough and sharp enough. It was how he was going to mature. And the way he matured is excellent. And the first time I got an opportunity to sit down with him as a member of the staff, I was like, wow, how much he's grown. Not necessarily in football, X's O's, but his maturity, being a father and a husband and a leader. And I think we got a really good one here. I think he's going to be in this business for a long time.
When it was announced that you were taking the Arizona job, what did you hear from in terms of your former players from that '98 team? Text messages, congratulations. What was that like? Getting those?
It was positive. It was extremely positive. It's always a good feeling. Those guys know me, and they know what we represent and how we're going to do it. And I think they believe we're going to do it the right way.
How have you quickly assessed your offense, this roster, the talent that you have?
I haven't been able to assess it yet, except for on tape. We're going to get an opportunity this spring to get out there and see exactly what we can and what we cannot do, and from there we'll be able to grow.
When you say you're going to take your players and find the right spots, have you identified things though, in looking at the tape about T-Mac and when their skill sets?
So here's the thing: when you watch the tape, you're watching what someone else told them to do.
Right.
What I want to do is I want them to see them to practice and see where we can move to. And you just like in your normal education, I like to use analogies. You have your undergraduate degree, you got your master's degree, and you got your doctorate degree. And I want to see what degree they have, and then see what degree we can move them to.
When you talk about that military background, are there elements of that in your coaching style?
Yeah, I like to be black and white. I think there's right and wrong, and I think there's good and bad. And I'm not naive. I think there's a lot of gray in the world. I know about it. There's a lot of gray in the world, but you try to stay away from the gray because there is gray. So you try to keep it black and white, knowing that here comes that gray. And then, as Mama used to say, hopefully they can use a little CS. Okay, you know what that is, right? Common sense. There you go. You're the man. And based off of that, we'll do the right thing.
Thanks.
I'm sure you've already been asked this, but
I doubt it.
Coach Tomey, the impact that Coach Tomey had on your career and just being able to be back in a spot where you helped him grow this program as well.
Coach Tomey is like a second dad to me. He was, you gotta understand, I played for him at Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came here, that was the ultimate compliment that the guy I played for thought I was good enough in my profession to be a coach for him. And then the positive things that we did here and seeing the joy on his face, that was a lot of completion for me. Coming back and speaking at the funeral, that was a step also in life. And now maybe just an opportunity to kind of really cement the legacy that he started here with Coach B. Coach Brennan leading the charge was just too good to pass up.
What did you learn from your time at Syracuse, not only about coaching, about yourself too, and maybe not only at Syracuse, but previous stops as well?
I think the biggest thing about coaching is you got to be able to adjust and improvise. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be green and growing, not red and rotten. You have to continue to listen to the young men. They're not always right, but you need to listen to them so that you can figure out what buttons to push to get them to do the things that you need them to do, not only on the football field, but off the football field.
And then in terms of recruiting, it's ever changing in this world of college football with NIL and everything going on. How do you, I don't want to say stay true to your core values of recruiting, but how do you go about recruiting? What are those core values of recruiting, I guess?
The only thing I can do, I'm not involved with the other part of it anymore. But my biggest thing is your record's got to speak for yourself. And these young men in this technology age, they can reach anybody. And I think I've got over 80 players that have played or I've recruited in the National Football League. I mean, I can find somebody for you to talk to tell you exactly how our offense is going to be or how it's going to be ran or how you're going to be coached. And then based off of all the other parameters, you can decide whether this is a good place for you or not.
And then lastly, just looking at the guys, I know you were talking about, you want to instill, find out where they are of their degree. But when you look at the roster, the offensive line and everything, I mean, there seems to be a lot of talent there. Does it excite you to get to work with those guys?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, they've had some success. The biggest thing about having success is can you turn around and do it twice? It's the hardest thing to do because no one believes you the first time. But now that you've had some success, to be able to back that up with more success is one of the most difficult things to do.